Cage for hours. Please. Kiss me.
Greetings and salutations. This is Cage's Kiss, the ultimate Cage cast, where we discuss each of the National Treasure's cinematic masterpieces and his life. We also try to glean whatever kernels of wisdom we can from his character that week. This week, we discuss the surrealistic, ultra-violent, and sex-filled 90s film Natural Born Killers. This week we actually watched Crazy Mary, Crazy Larry, in which two wild youths... Fuck.
Dingleberry.
Yeah, we watched David Lynch's Wild at Heart. Oh, God. I'm Donnie.
I'm Adrian. Are you sure it wasn't Badlands?
It could have been.
And I'm Linda, but this week you can call me Cheesy Peru, like the country.
Why not Perdita Durango? Who gonna get that other silver dollar?
Jesus Christ.
Remember
Adrian,
that number.
You want to tell us, give us a little summary of Wild at Heart?
Wild at Heart. Okay.
Please.
I have a soft spot for this one because it's actually kind of my first David Lynch movie. I saw this originally back when I did not know who David Lynch was, despite the fact that I saw Twin Peaks with my parents in the 90s, even when they sort of stopped watching it. Oh, this is Wild at Heart from 1990 by the Lynch from the novel by the Barry Gifford. So this is about two crazy mixed up kids, one of whom is Nicolas Cage as Sailor Ripley, and the other one is Laura Dern as Lula Fortune. That's right. Nicolas Cage is very Elvis-esque, and he's getting born into his Elvis self right here in 1990, as he had not done that previous. Wearing a snakeskin jacket. That is a symbol of individuality and his belief in personal freedom. So immediately after the opening credits, he beats to death a man named Bobby Ray Leonard and is sent to jail. And then when he gets back out of jail, paroled, Laura Dern pulls up in a convertible and whisks him off to an adventure. Only her mama don't approve. Now that right there would be Diane Ladd, her real-life mama. And she sends hired killers after him, including Marcela Santos.
As you do.
And they sort of wind up down that yellow brick road outside of reality on account of this here is a David Lynch movie. And David Lynch is kind of alternative when it comes to that.
He lives in his own reality.
Important things include Willem Dafoe in this movie with some very special looking gums.
Yeah, he's got some special teeth.
This was my first Willem Dafoe movie. I didn't know his teeth weren't like that. Yeah. I like when I saw him later on, I'm like, they look better now. Oh, I must have got some work done. You know?
You are pretty lucky this being your first Lynch film, because mine was Eraserhead.
Holy shit! Yeah, I didn't get to see that one too. You know, the funny thing is though, is like when I was in middle school, I was a huge film nut like already, and my gym teacher kept telling me to see Eraserhead because he knew I was into the movies. It's like if you're any kind of film buff at all, you'll watch Eraserhead. And later on, I was like, he was right. This is amazing. Kind of weird. A teacher told me to see this though.
Yeah,
I know, right?
But he was switched on like that though. Like he knew the cool films. Like he's the one who told me to see Touch of Evil. You know, like
Jesus.
That was Mr. Glenn Ward right there.
Adrian, have you ever seen Roman Gladiators?
You ever been in a Turkish prison? I love the bit in Eraserhead where you see the baby and the horrendous innards just like under the bandage, and Jack Nance is just like, oh, you are sick. Oh my God. Okay,
Jack Nance was also in Wild at Heart.
Yeah, so
love Jack Nance.
No, Lynch used him whenever he could. Although a couple of times Nance turned him down because Nance had a day job. He wasn't primarily an actor. He worked as a security guard, and he actually died because of his profession. There, he tried to break up a fight, and he got hit wrong. Yeah,
he deserves so much better.
I know. It's life's a piece of shit. What can you do? So this movie is in a way it's timeless in the sense that it is like all other David Lynch movies, like Blue Velvet and Lost Highway and like Mulholland Drive. but it is a few things that anchor it. You know, one that being that it's a crime road movie, specifically like Natural Born Killers. You know, and I think in a way this is what kicked off that kind of 90s, like, you know, indie desert noir, you know, semi surrealistic kind of picture.
Well, Lynch actually said, quote, "It was my road picture, except there wasn't a role for Bob Hope."
Right? Yeah. Oh, Bob Hope.
Oh, but if he had been in
Oh,
this.
well, we know that Phyllis Diller would have played the Diane Ladd role. You could just see her painting her face with lipstick there, you know?
Santos!
You belong right here in this toilet because you're a piece of SHIT.
As she had the right to call him for not wanting to apparently fuck her in a men's bathroom.
I love the shot of the suspicious white stuff swirling in the toilet.
Right?
Like it's like, is that puke? What happened in here? Oh my. This movie, by the way, this isn't necessarily the one to watch while you're eating.
No.
There's sort of a puke theme,
No.
you know.
And apparently, Lynch and Diane Ladd, got together and decided to shock Nick Cage in that scene.
Right? Yeah. No, he didn't know that line was coming. Do you want to fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about fucking Lula's mama?
Oh my god. Yeah. No. Diane Ladd steals the fucking show in this thing. You know.
I love her so much.
So,
yeah.
so Diane Ladd, Laura Dern's real life mom. Laura Dern is made from Diane Ladd and Bruce Dern, who I love.
Yay.
Bruce Dern's fucking immortal. And they were both on Roger Corman's The Wild Angels with Peter Fonda in '65. I don't know if that's when Laura Dern got made or what. You know, I don't know when she was born. Yeah, she's only 20 years old.
67?
She 67. Okay, so a little while later.
Or no, it was in the year 67, I think.
What was?
Yes, it's an amazing role
she was born.
where she gets to yell at her daughter constantly and then scream and drink and shake.
Yeah, no, and
This
then
is
Yeah,
and
what
then
she
born in
do.
67.
and then pop up behind the coffee table and go like "Wow" to Harry Dean Stanton.
Yes.
Oh, the cast
I
is
am a kitty
fucking
cat.
amazing. It's fucking amazing. The
it
cast
really
on this
is.
thing. Okay.
I suppose
A
so.
lot of Twin Peaks people.
So
too.
first off,
Just call them Lynch people.
Lynch,
Lynchians.
the Lynch
well, a lot
people.
of Lynch people, yeah.
So this movie won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
The Cannes Film Festival, it's hit and miss like most award ceremonies, although they're at least generally more correct than the Oscars. You know? Okay, so stats. Okay,
It
for
had,
one thing, some of the people in here. We got Grace Zabriskie from Galaxy of Terror.
Yes.
Playing the lady with the leg brace. I don't remember her character's name right now. She's one of the big three who hangs out with Juana. Yeah, and she's got her hench people, including David Patrick Kelly as Drop Shadow. David Patrick Kelly, you may remember from Hey Warriors, come out and play.
And Grace Zabriskie was also Laura Palmer's mom in Twin Peaks.
But mostly Galaxy of Terror, goddammit.
But mostly
Exactly.
Galaxy of Terror, goddamn.
Fuck the world. I love Galaxy of Terror.
And I love you for that.
Yay.
And it also had Sherilyn Fenn and Cheryl Lee.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Isabella Rossellini.
Sherilyn Fenn's that's part of what cemented this movie for me too. When I first saw it, because when I saw it, I didn't really know who David Lynch was. I just I knew he was one of the three Davids basically for film directors, and I'm like, oh, this is a piece of shit. This is gonna be like that dick who made Alien 3, because I was like 15 at the time. And that was all I knew for David Fincher. I didn't know that like he was a good guy, you know. Even though I've come around and changed my opinion on Alien 3 because I'm not fucking 15 anymore.
Oh, but it also has Crispin Glover.
Yes. It yeah. No, this has the most. It has oddly less and more Crispin Glover than previous Cage Glover collaborations.
The only person that mattered, no one's mentioned yet, is Harry Dean Stanton.
Well, no, I mentioned Harry Dean
Hell
Stanton.
yeah.
I fucking love Harry Dean
Thank
Stanton.
you.
Dude, Harry Dean Stanton from fucking Repo Man. You know what I hate? Ordinary fucking people. Jonesy. Meow.
It's just a cat.
He was in Godfather Part 2. He didn't have any lines, but he was there. You know, it's fucking Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah,
just
all right.
He was actually in the movie Cage directed. He was in Sonny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, you know, we're mostly talking about Cage the actor, so we'll save that bridge for when we have to burn it. No, okay, so Laura Dern, I already mentioned, apparently previous to this, she had a no nudity clause.
Right.
Like she didn't want to be a pair of tits like a lot of actresses wound up being, you know, but it was the 90s, sex was still okay.
Is that
But
stunt nipples?
my daddy liked them when they perked up and said hello. But she was comfortable with David Lynch, and she thought the story warranted it because the character is fucking sex obsessed.
Yeah.
And dance obsessed.
Yeah. Oh man. J.E. Freeman was in this as playing Marcelo Santos. So I don't know much from his career on the whole, but immediately previous to this, he was in that terrible Dan Aykroyd comedy, The Couch Trip, with Walter Matthau. I don't remember who he was in that, but I'm never going to watch that movie again to find out.
You don't ever have to.
And right after this, he was in the Coen Brothers' Miller's Crossing.
Oh.
Yeah. Mr. Reindeer in this, who's introduced sitting on a toilet, is W. Morgan Shepherd. Now, he did a few things, but I remember him mostly for being in 2 episodes of MacGyver as this evil character named Dr. Zito, who's basically a made-for-TV Hannibal Lecter. Freddie Jones, whose voice is pitched up, talking about pigeons. He was in Lynch's Hotel Room, in the first episode of Hotel Room, which also had Harry Dean Stanton. Yep. He's in there as Harry Dean Stanton's evil personality, Lou. They get a hooker, and I don't remember if they just rape or murder, or like they do something bad, and then the cops show up. But like right before, Freddie Jones departs and says, "Don't stay too long, Lou." The movie also features POWERMAD, a thrash metal band from Minneapolis. There's a lot of random thrash metal in here.
POWERMAD!
I think I already mentioned this is from the novel by Barry Gifford, who actually wrote multiple sequels to the book, including Perdita Durango, aka Dance with the Devil, in which Rosie Perez plays Perdita Durango, which was Isabella Rossellini's character. Javier Bardem's on that one as well. It's not as good, but it's technically a sequel to this.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it of course features Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Say fuck me! Speaking of Jack.
For our Willem Dafoe cast, the Dafoe paw, where the D silent.
Oh. Willem Dafoe, who's done some wonderful things, and he's been in some really fucking terrible things. I felt really, really bad for him for Speed 2 Cruise Control. It's not a gun, it's just a computer. It's like this.
I actually wiped that from my memory.
There's a $150 million movie from 1997 in which a relatively distinguished cast is forced to improv and play out a scriptless 2-hour version of Jan de Bont's Dreams. That is literally based on a dream by Jan de Bont. Does it have anything to do with this movie? No, but fuck Speed 2.
Exactly.
Well, and fuck you for bringing it back to my memory.
Diane Ladd, by the way, was also in Carnosaur.
Oh my god.
Her greatest role yet.
I have a weird segue here. Oh, by the way, she's also a cousin of Tennessee Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee Williams, by the way, who had a play called Stairs to the Roof, which was subtitled A Prayer for the Wild of Heart That Are Kept in Cages. Yeah. The Lad and Laura there were also in Rambling Rose, and they were also in Martin Scorsese's Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore.
Yes.
All right.
And speaking of Carnosaur, that movie was hated by every film critic except for Gene Siskel. Gene Siskel, who before death was partnered with Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert, who didn't think much of Wild at Heart. He thought the film was dishonest, and he actually led a chorus of boos when it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
Real dick.
Roger Ebert,
That's-
writer of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
I was gonna say.
I've got
Classic.
some opinions about this guy. He's apparently he's like the first name people remember as film critic. They don't think of Rex
Yeah.
Reed. They don't think of Pauline Kael, who is wrong a lot of the time too, but she's better than fucking Roger Ebert. They think,
Yeah.
but yeah, no. And this son of a bitch. You know what? Okay, this is kind of a side rant here, but like Roger Ebert, if you ever actually sit down and read any of his reviews, those ones that he actually had printed in the Chicago Sun Times, he oftentimes it seems like he didn't really see the movie.
Yeah.
Like he saw a trailer for the movie, he decided that it was offensive for X reason, and then he writes an entire review about X reason.
Well, he gave Blue Velvet shit because he said that Lynch exploited Isabella Rossellini to do nude, and she was like, no, I was totally cool with it.
If you ever see him talk, it's like David Lynch. Do you really see him saying like, "I need you on my casting couch for sex"? Right. David Lynch couldn't even bring himself to say the word "fuck." Like on the movie Blue Velvet, he's like, okay, Dennis Hopper, when you say that word, it's like, yeah, the word fuck. Because that's the funny thing is Lynch makes these movies, well, these adult situations, and he's kind of a Boy Scout, you know?
Yeah.
But then if he did like put you in like a casting couch position, I don't know anybody who'd be like, no, thank you.
He's like Mr. Rogers, you know?
Ew.
Well, Ebert also went on to say that he thought that Wild at Heart and Blue Velvet were like a digression, and that Lynch should have followed up on the potential of Eraserhead.
I can see that.
Not now, mind you, that's him saying Eraserhead, not the Elephant Man. If he said the Elephant Man, it's like, he wants him to do more mainstream, respectable, highbrow movies. Like, no, he said fucking Eraserhead. What the hell do you follow that up with? Tetsuo the Iron Man
too.
Darren Aronofsky's Pie. You know, it's like you can't go more bad shit than fucking Eraserhead.
Jesus Christ.
Just like Ordinary Chickens.
Well, like I was telling you, the only thing I keep remembering about Ebert every time I hear about him is that he did a special. It was a documentary about him, and they go to this restaurant where he's like, it's the most perfect place in the world because of their hamburgers. And he's like, the hamburger is perfect because they grill the bun, and you have this perfect crispiness of biting a crispy bun and crispy, fresh, frozen lettuce, and then a crispy hamburger, and the pickles add to even more crisp, and it's just so beautiful that you have all this crispness.
I just think I purchased the crispness.
I'm like,
fuck
what
him and fuck lettuce. Oh dear God!
Excuse me. While I beat my crisp bean.
It's so crusty. It's crisp.
Fucking burger, motherfucker!
So
that's more articulation than he had in his review of Human Centipede.
Sadly.
now, back to the movie.
Human Centipede forever.
At Cannes, apparently there was this big banquet, and in which Nick Cage was sitting with David Lynch,
and all the servers were
Laura
topless. She stole my comb, that bitch.
And they were sitting with the president of the festival and his wife, and the wife asked if Nick could sing "Love Me Tender."
Well, he's only going to sing that to his wife.
Yeah, right. But Nick Cage said, quote, "I just went white and started trembling. David wanted me to do it. He was like, Nixter, buddy, man, you jump up on the table and you sing to her now." There was no backing out. So I did jump on the table, and in this quivering eggshell voice saying "Love Me Tender" to her with sweat drenching my forehead. Then I got down and was met with fairly courteous applause, though obviously it was courtesy applause, but it had to be done, so I did it. It was one of those, the most terrifying things I've ever had to do, and probably the most embarrassing.
That
The most
that was the most
embarrassing.
embarrassing thing he ever
Right?
had to do.
I think that's
The
pretty
Family
good.
Man comes to mind.
Yeah.
City of Angels.
That's what I said at the time.
Right. Well,
We're like puzzle pieces.
I mean, he was the boy in blue, though.
Yeah.
Just saying, like if Cage is gonna start being embarrassed for things and apologizing, like, I mean, where are you gonna start?
The Mirror.
Apparently, this is the film that helped him get away from method acting and become more playful
Right.
as an actor.
He wasn't already?
He got who knows?
Well, he apparently went
Rockin'
away
good
for,
news.
I think he went away for like a week to Vegas with Laura Dern while they worked on their characters, and they came back and decided that they were one character.
Jesus.
Yeah,
together.
I watched the featurettes, and I think she said that on there.
Donnie, you can like bitch all you want, but like I think all the actors on the cast are just fucking killing it.
Well, no, Donnie
Yeah.
doesn't have an
Amazing.
issue with the actors. It's just the Lynchisms.
Yeah, so read a book.
Llorando, llorando.
Fire. No. All right.
I was at work the other day and I randomly started singing fucking Roy Orbison, and one of my coworkers is like, "Oh, are you talking about David Lynch?"
Jesus
What?
Christ.
Yeah, no, because we started talking about Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet. In dreams, I walk with you.
What do you
So-
bring to the table, Lindar?
What do I bring? I bring nothing.
That's my line, goddamn.
We're gonna differ from time to time on some of these shits, and I imagine we're gonna differ pretty sharply when it comes to the '90s. You know, just because like some of those movies, you know, are so disgustingly beloved by some that it is divisive.
True.
You know,
I bring nothing to the table. I just jump on it and sing "Love Me Tender."
Well, no, I want to know the behind-the-scenes goodness you have to bring us on Cagey Facts.
Oh.
I love
That's
the
what I'm
shit
saying.
where he fucking starts dancing and he starts doing the
Oh,
kung
thank you,
fu
thank you.
kicks.
Yeah, it's not even dancing. It is just straight up.
Oh,
It
Silent
made
Ripley,
me
you
think
get some
of,
music on that radio.
Beavis and Butthead when they
Pretty
went to-
much.
Like that was
With
the
the
shit
karate
that
kicks and
disarmed me.
punches.
Like oh man. No,
The budget was estimated at about 9.5 million,
huh,
and it grossed almost 14.6 million
nice.
in the U.S.
Respectable.
So I'd say it did all right. And Lynch, of course, said that Cage was his first and only choice to play Sailor.
That makes
And,
perfect sense.
Yeah, right. He said, quote, "There are a lot of things that make Nick unique. His way of delivering lines, his look. He's got an ability to do really heavy things and goofy things. His attitude encouraged me to think of things for him to do because he's so good at going into strange places." Wait, why am I reading this straight? I'm sorry. You give him an idea and he grabs onto it like crazy. He's like a wild dog on a leash.
That sounds pretty accurate.
Tidbit, are you all right? Well, my mama, she smokes Merits
love
now, but used to be she smoked Viceroys. This
I
movie
do
taught
that
me that
so
you
much.
can stay in shape by juggling an old-timey radio with your feet.
That's true.
Yeah.
Don't you do that already?
Didn't your
But-
uncle rape you when you were 12? Is that when that happened?
We don't talk
13.
about my uncle.
It's not a real uncle.
I
It was a
love
dark
the
time.
dissolve flashback to the exploding car and then out again. Oh, everything in this
It's
movie.
sad. I was
Now-
actually expecting them to go into the crybaby thing about him saying that his dad.
Oh yeah,
was the
I hate
accident
electricity.
bomber.
It makes me crazy. Yeah, but you know you can't. Well, fuck. I mean, yeah. I think Lynch can hang with John Waters.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, most stuff.
But speaking of which, you know the John Waters mustache, fucking A, right there on
Yes.
fucking
True.
Willem Dafoe.
Defoe.
Yeah,
Bobby Peru.
Bobby Peru.
But I feel
I
like
love that,
this
that
is
part at the hotel where they're having the conversation about Vietnam and Pruitt Taylor Vince is there in the cowboy hat.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember him from fucking Jacob's Ladder?
Holy shit.
Oh
yeah.
God,
Going to
yes.
hell. He reaches
You were
for the
saying.
silver dollar and it shoots out of the way and the car explodes. Oh man.
I just feel like this is like I'm surprised that he wasn't in more David Lynch films because
True.
it seems like the perfect pairing because, you know, like Lynch doesn't follow any rules and, you know, he doesn't I think that's like what I love so much about his work is that it's so surreal and it doesn't need to make sense.
It
And
does.
that's what's like so unsettling about it at sometimes.
Yeah,
but like with
but
Nick Cage,
there's the internal consistency in that you're in the world of Lynch's brain,
Yeah.
and so nothing clashes because it's all from the same place there, It's all going to be startling.
Right.
And in fact, this movie's designed to be jarring. It's got that really intense sound out of fucking nowhere. Like when they light the matches, and you get the close-ups of the
yeah.
cigarettes, and you get the exaggerated sound effects. And the part at the beginning where he's beating Bobby Ray Leonard to death, he literally knocks this man's brains out, by the way. This movie is violent as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, and to kind of go with
actually,
what
it was
you
the
were-
violence they had to censor to avoid the X rating, not the sex.
It's kind of going in the theme you already brought up with Galaxy of Terror. I think also that was, unless I'm thinking of the other one, that James
World?
Cameron worked on.
Yeah, no,
as
Cameron
the
worked
producer.
on. Those are his sets on both
Yeah.
of them because he was a production design guy for Corman.
Yes, and
other
what he
things.
did in that, a lot of those designs he later brought on with him into Aliens.
Yeah,
And that's the
although
thing with this
Aliens
movie.
I like less because there's no McDonald's cardboard in it. Sorry,
But
you
it's
were
like
saying that.
this movie and other Lynch films, they all have ties that he brings back or brought from when he was doing Twin Peaks. And that's why it's hard because I don't really get to talk about this because I don't really know anyone that has any love for David Lynch or his films, period. But it's a very
Except for us.
complicated love-hate thing I have with him. I respect him as a director because having the balls to step away from something hugely successful because you don't want it to be and wanting to do your own thing, that takes a lot. And he still is able to make a filmography that a lot of people can stand by and love. And a lot of actors and actresses want to work with him. And if they didn't respect him or like what he does, they would have said, fuck you a long time ago. But it's what he does with his films that I know they're supposed to be artistic and his own surrealistic view. Surrealism is just, it teeters on a fine edge between being artistic and being hilariously what the fuck and stupid. Sometimes it goes one way, sometimes it just rides that line.
Yeah, the
Some
potential
of his
for
movies
silliness
I just
is
can't
always
really
there.
go with. Yeah, it's like themes that they play in movies are fine, but sometimes, like even this movie, there's so many things that I know it's supposed to come off as surrealistic and intense, it just comes off as fucking hilarious. But I also think that's an age thing of just being so out of it in your mind that you don't care about
Well,
it.
do you think that the black comedy label that's put on this and his other films, do you think that is a label that people put on there to understand it, or do you think that's part of the
I think it
intent?
is because that's what it tends to
so
happen.
You
but
think
it's
that's like almost like an afterbirth of it being a comedy, that it wasn't necessarily
almost, but not. See, again, it's just a fine line because it's the same thing with Lars von Trier. And when, for instance, Nymphomaniac came out, people like, this is the most disturbing piece of shit and it's pointless. But then other people are trying to say, oh, you missed it. It's all a comedy. It's like, I suppose you could say it's a comedy, but it's not.
But that's an interesting point though, especially about surrealism, because a lot of people like you mentioned absurdity as an element, and I think it could be a very interesting element. But some people will say absurd. It's like humor, and it's like, well, but not necessarily. Sometimes an absurd thing is to disturb you.
Well, that's just it. But it's all on the person who sees it, because what's surreal to you may not be to me, same as anyone else.
Well,
And that's why I said
this film like Lynch himself, it did sharply divide audiences and critics. I mean, this is a controversial one.
I feel like
absolutely.
most of his work can a lot of it can be put in the horror genre because it's so unsettling.
Right.
And because you have no idea what's coming, and it's a general mind fuck.
Well, yeah.
But I feel like
so much
with
violence.
the parts that we feel like are the funniest are like the absurd moments are kind of like a break from the intensity.
Yeah.
With everything else,
No, and it
this one
is
with
it fucking ping pongs with that shit.
Well, yeah, I mean it's
With
just
like fucking Willem Dafoe's head coming apart. That's one of the things I always
Oh my
remembered
God,
about
that was
this.
great.
It's like you know,
But-
like most movies, really even movies, you know, action movies or violent movies or even war movies, usually violence is sugar coated. Gore is even
Yeah.
sugar coated.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's
well,
rare
and
to
with
see it
this
this
scene,
way.
or this movie, there's that scene with Willem Dafoe as Bobby Peru, and he's like feeling up Laura Dern's character.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it seems like he's about to rape her, and he's like he's saying over.
playing
He's
joke
just
on
sexually
He's
assaulting
just
her.
being-
That's all.
He's such a fucking asshole. Fuck me.
Yes. And he
And
keeps
you
like
got that
grabbing her
that
and
close
saying
up
like,
of both their mouths. You got her lips. She's always got the intense like red lips, and you got him with his mouth open with the horrifying gums and the stumpy teeth. You know,
right?
fuck me.
And he keeps repeating,
Fuck
saying, "Say fuck me, say fuck me."
Yeah, and at first he screams at her and threatens her, and then it kind of gets trance like until she
But that's the
finally
thing,
says
yeah.
it back, and he's like,
And
it's
it
like
gets so
maybe later, babe. I
intense.
got someplace to go.
No, that's the thing. It like gets so intense and so
It's like,
uncomfortable.
oh, Bobby Peru,
and it
you were
makes
just trolling.
it just feels like so like I mean.
Oh, it's so dirty.
As a chick, I felt like so shitty in that, and then all of a sudden, he just like he finally gets her to say it, and he says, "Someday, honey, I will, but I gotta get
And they're
going."
in the shittiest fucking hotel. It's infested with flies. You get these fuck awful things like these little horse sculptures like up on the nightstands, and she's got the phone on the lower end of the nightstand so she can have the ashtray on hand because everybody smokes constantly.
And don't forget throwing up on the floor. And
Yeah,
not
no,
bothering to clean it up.
He's like, what's that smell, baby? It's like, oh, I barfed. I didn't make it to the bathroom. Got the wrong door. And the first shot when it gets in the room is the fly is being blown off the puke on the floor.
And then even Willem Dafoe like,
And,
what's that
and they
smell?
don't clean it up. It's sitting there in the carpet for several scenes.
Smells
Speaking
like
of Lars
human
von Trier.
vomit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that barf smell don't fade fast. It's like, my God, put some baking soda on it, you savages. But like the whole motel bit where because like it's like the part where they come across Sherwin Finn with the head injury.
Yeah.
After that, it's
Right.
like it's like the wind's gone out of their sails and all their luck's faded, and they're in this shitty little town of Big Tuna. And as you pull into town, there's a sign that just says "fuck you."
Yeah.
And they're at the motel. They're sitting outside on these shitty like sun chairs at night, you know, and there's these shitty Christmas lights, and they're meeting the weirdos who live in that town. This town where nothing fucking happens. And that's when the rocket scientist comes up, you know, like Double Aught Spool or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And when
by Jack
I
Nance.
saw that part, I realized it's like this is a movie where everybody who walks into this scene, they didn't exist before they came there.
Yes.
Like these people are being paraded out for these specific events. Because this is you mentioned surrealism, and people bandy that term around a lot, you know. But it's also an interesting side point. It's like most movies do attempt like a form of realism or naturalism, you know, they'll even if they did it very badly, they'll pretend that everybody who walked into the scene is not a player but like a character, is it a human being?
Yeah.
And Lynch doesn't require that of them. They have the dimension that they're going to bring to it. It's more like Joseph von Sternberg, you know. It's like this is one pixel, this is one blip of color, you know, in my grand tapestry, you know, like it doesn't matter what the fuck else they're gonna do. They're here to do this, you know.
Did we derail anything from you, Linda? Did you have more that you were gonna?
Yeah, we're gonna tell something there. Peanut.
No, but I was gonna say that with all you were talking about how everybody smokes, and like sometimes it's like even 2 cigarettes at once.
I'm
Laura
a flavor
Dern
country.
tried to
It's
smoke.
a big country.
It's a big country. She tried to smoke 3 at once and passed out.
Yes, and then she woke up to David Lynch over her saying, "Tidbit, you're
I love how he
right."
called her Tidbit.
That seems so.
And then
David
when
Lynch.
she tells Lula tells Sailor that she's pregnant, the first thing he does is lights 3 cigarettes.
Right.
I'm smoking for 3 now, baby.
Oh, God damn it.
And I quit smoking about 11 years ago, but
now you want
watching
Cools
this,
and
I was just like, I need a
Viceroys?
cigarette. I need to go to
I
flavor
love the
country.
part where they're talking about cigarettes and Cage's sailor is all like, "Oh yeah, both my parents died from smoking." It's like my mama died from smoking. She's like, "Yeah, what brand she smoke?"
Yeah.
Can we also bring up about her father putting huge cockroaches on his anus?
No, that wasn't her father. It was her cousin, Crispin Glover.
Oh, that was
Cousin
Jingle
Glover.
Dale. I love
Yeah,
the
Dale-
shot of
Jingle
Crispin
Bell, yeah.
Glover after they talk about the cockroach on the anus. He's outside and he's walking in this funny way, like he's got something in his anus.
He's got cockroaches in
That
his
was a lot
underwear.
of dead cockroaches in
Oh,
his underwear.
that was
I'm
a lot.
just saying.
It's like the damn things don't stand a chance. You want to get rid of roaches? Just bring Cousin Dale over.
I love Crispin
See,
Glover.
Dale
He
thought
really
that
is,
Christmas and all the good things were being destroyed by ideas controlled by aliens.
That sounds like a special, a Crispin Christmas.
Oh
I'd
my
watch
god,
that
I would
shit.
watch the hell out of that. I would produce the hell out of that.
Did either of you see his film? What is it?
Yes.
I just saw a trailer for it, but the trailer, I'm like, oh my god, he made a Kenneth Anger movie. It's like,
Crispin.
I've been trying to make a
Glover.
Kenneth Anger movie forever.
I'd rather not.
No, you think we have enough of them? Well, maybe I don't need your approval. Maybe I'll just go be Kenneth Anger.
I have a short story I've got to share with all of
By
you.
Chekhov?
So a crew member told Lynch toward the end of filming that a blonde woman had showed up to the set in New Orleans, and she said, "Hey, y'all need a whore? I'm a real one." And upon hearing this, Lynch laughed, paused a beat, and asked, "Golly, can we still get her?"
I'd sure like me a real whore.
I don't know where to find those real life whores, so I'll have to make a note of this.
Ask Dino De Laurentiis.
Oh, David, you want whore? I bring you whore.
I know where all the prostitutes are. I use them all the time.
His life is like a Fellini movie for real.
Yeah.
He lives like Mr. Reindeer.
Oh, Lord.
Just like topless serving wenches on hand at all times.
Bring me my phone, you topless scam.
For each problem,
One thing
put a silver dollar through my nail slots. Wink, wink.
One thing I enjoyed about this movie was that it, like Nick Cage pointed out, that the movie starts at a point where a lot of films end.
Yeah.
And
No, this is the good version of Con Air. It's about a guy going to jail and then having an epic adventure. And then going to jail again.
Yeah. He did
Or
have a
it's like
stuffed animal he gave to a kid.
See? Same
Yeah, he
movie.
did. I
Only
was
way
thinking
better.
about that.
Simon West, fuck you.
It's also kind of another version of an alternate reality version of Hi McDonough.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, this is one of his many accent movies.
Yeah.
Put the
Many,
bunny back in the box.
It's before he perfected going in and out of character voices in Bad Lieutenant 2.
So, Jesus fucking Christ. A man
we're
without
gonna
a
have to
gun.
do that.
That's not a man, Dad. Son, could you pick one accent and stick to it? I don't know what you mean. I'm on painkillers and cocaine.
It's called the Cage Cocktail.
He wasn't in character. He was just on painkillers and cocaine, people.
You know the kibble?
I had a fairly high opinion of Werner Herzog before I saw that movie.
Yeah.
So Barry Gifford, who wrote the book Wild at Heart and the sequels, went way the fuck back when I was at Evergreen, working in the library. I found a book that Barry Gifford had done of film criticism, and one of them and at one point in there he brings up David Lynch, and he says of Lynch, quote, "He's like a pornographer, but a real pornographer, not a fake one like that Brian De Palma."
Wow.
Shade thrown on Brian De Palma. Hey, I'm right there with him for that. I'm sorry. Brian De Palma's not my...
No, Brian De Palma, most of his career has been kind of a train wreck. Just because apparently he'll just do whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we talked about a person not resting on their laurels or following up on success as a respectable thing, you know, and it's like with David Lynch and Nicolas Cage, that could be a fun thing. Not necessarily with Brian De Palma, though. It's like, hey, Brian De Palma, you just did Scarface. Everybody loves it. What are you going to do next? I'm doing Body Double, because fuck you.
Yes. He brought us Melanie Griffith just because she's Tippi Hedren's daughter.
To be fair though, like he didn't pluck her entirely from obscurity. She'd been in Abel Ferrara's Fear City before that, which is actually a much better movie. I really like Abel Ferrara.
Anyway,
he also, thank you, gave us Phantom of the Paradise, and I have to love that for Paul Williams. Dude,
Brian De Palma did the fucking Fury, in which John Cassavetes explodes.
That's true.
That shit was fucking epic. Oh my god! No, it's like that's one time where he followed it up appropriately. It's like he did Carrie, and then there's Carrie on steroids, The Fury. Oh my god! No, that movie made Pauline Kael come. You know.
Wow.
No, pretty much, dude. Holy damn.
You were saying, Lindar?
I was probably something about this movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. This movie.
Look, they're called tangents. If it wasn't for tangents, we wouldn't have any content. God damn it.
Yeah, I
mean, I could go on and on about fucking Brian De Palma, but
well, maybe we can do a bonus episode where we do nothing but discuss Lynchisms. But I will say that at one point I really just checked out of this movie, and I did come back in time to love the ending of this movie because that's the most amazing thing ever to just completely laugh at.
What do you faggots want?
Yeah, Cage decides, oh baby, you don't need me in your life. I'm just gonna go do my own thing. And 8 guys come out, confront him, he's like, what do you fags want? And they beat the shit out of him. And then he gets visited by an angel. And he decides, I need my wife.
It is not a tightly paced movie.
No,
it is not tight. Like there's a lot of back and forth.
Homosexuals.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, they use that one scene. They use that one scene as a clip in the celluloid closet. And see, sometimes people say faggot. It's like, well, fuck you. What worse movies than this said faggot? Pick on them, asshole. Yes.
It's like between that movie and the Grand Budapest Hotel, I really enjoyed shit like that in these.
Yeah.
But no, I love that they kicked his ass. Like, you want some more? It's like, no,
that was plenty. and then he thanks them and goes, oh, and he runs off, and he's dancing where they're on top of a traffic jam as the end credits roll.
See, that's why we need the young Christian youth, because they're out beating the shit out of people until they accept their fate.
In their Metallica shirts, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I loved the gang so much because I thought they looked like they should have been a new wave band.
Pretty much.
Just like the guy he beats up in the club there earlier.
Yes, can we at least talk about how the metal band stops to let him suddenly start performing?
No, it's like, no. They stop on a dime because he made them. Yeah. And then he takes the microphone and then they play along and do background lyrics as he sings Elvis to an audience that's suddenly on the verge of throwing their panties and screaming because Cage has become fucking Elvis. This movie is fucking it's fucking Wizard of Oz meets an Elvis movie meets God the fuck knows what else. It's so fucking violent.
Yes, that's like the best way he described it to Lucille.
Wizard of Oz,
50s movie with
tits,
90s metal,
gore.
Yes.
Like, these are all here. And, we mentioned Natural Born Killers earlier, and I was heavily reminded of that, which is a movie I've actually seen far more than this, oddly enough, even though Natural Born Killers I don't think is as good.
No.
Just because, and as much as I love that one and the sheer insanity of it, it's Oliver Stone gets a little soapboxy towards the end there.
He does, and again,
it did have Roger Dangerfield.
Yeah, yes, it does. Like, that's what I was saying about films writing that line that Lynch is doing.
When I get up there, she's not going to see my face for that,
but I'm going to be ultra violent with it.
Yeah,
it's like you just go into the side of camp more than you do what you were trying to get across with it. That's why certain movies like that just don't do so well, but they serve as comedies because it's the only thing you can get out of it.
I just enjoy when a movie comes along and is needlessly intense.
Yeah.
You know,
That I can understand and get behind.
which can go wrong like everything else. But it's like, you know, it's so rare for anything to raise a blip, especially after you've seen a few, you know, I don't know, what, 10,000 movies?
Yeah.
Give or take, you know, like I've seen so many fucking movies. I'm goddamn numb to most of them. You know?
Right. Well, and again, that's why I said it's like I may not like Lynch's films, but I respect him because he earns it versus someone like George Lucas, where it's like directors like that, where you make one amazing thing, everyone falls behind, and suddenly they start proclaiming other films you made before that were just amazing. Like people saying THX 1138 was an amazing science fiction movie. It's like that was boring as ball sweat.
Oh, that's like my favorite one from him. Yeah, but I'll tell you what pissed me off though is that he did the same thing.
Did that have the Howard?
He did the same thing to there was no the Howard. It was 1971.
There was
it's Robert Duvall and Donald Pleasance. I fucking love Donald Pleasance. But the thing about THX is he did the same thing to that he did to Star Wars. So he reissued it on DVD with all this added CGI, and it's like you fucked up the charm of your indie sci-fi movie. God damn it! The point of THX
your extended student film
is you shaved the heads of a whole bunch of actors and you put them in San Francisco's BART system in the Holland Tunnel, and you have them racing fucking muscle cars.
Yes,
that was the appeal for me. You know,
but I mean, honestly, for me, this movie,
the white on white prison. You know,
I could not think of a better pairing than putting David Lynch and Cage together, just because they really do click together. That's why I was surprised really it took them this long to do this. But,
right?
Yeah, and neither of them want to put restrictions on the other.
Yeah.
And
can you imagine Cage in a Letterman jacket being Kyle MacLachlan in Blue Velvet? You know.
It could have honestly worked. I was surprised he didn't stick around to do more Lynch films. That's what I was saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Really
like I was surprised.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's made for television film for the Badalamenti's Symphony or whatever. And we'll be watching that later.
Oh yeah. Somebody needs to mention fucking Angelo Badalamenti.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was.
Fuck.
Can I mention Angelo Badalamenti? He said somebody should.
Somebody's got to. God damn it! I fucking love
somebody.
I fucking love his score just popping out of nowhere in this thing.
Oh yeah.
He did a lot of Lynch work, but he also scored the Scream movies for no fucking reason.
Yeah,
no, I didn't know that.
Which also had one of Lynch's cinematographers.
Nick Cave's songs.
Yeah.
And I think I should give another well-deserved shout-out to Cage as well, because I know we're going to get into this in his later films, but a lot of people know him mostly for his batshit insanity. But he actually did do some legitimate acting in a lot of other stuff. And he knows his shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he did earn a legitimate award.
Yeah.
But it just kind of sucks that most people know him for most of the batshit insane stuff he did.
Well, this is why I hate this is what I hate about like actors, celebrities, and people in general's reaction to celebrities. Like I'll be at work and people will be talking about actors. They'll be like, "Oh, you know, his girlfriend in that movie, that's his real life girlfriend." Oh, wow, yeah. It's like this is the level we're going to talk at now.
Yeah, you were saying, Linda.
Well, and we'll go into that like in his 90s his other 90s movies, because he did say that he was afraid that with Hollywood people tend to see you as the like the characters that you've portrayed, like, oh, he's the actor with the wooden hand who ate a cockroach and and has the snakeskin jacket. And he was saying that like they're I mean, eventually he goes into comedy, but he was afraid that nobody was going to hire him for comedy because he was this intense actor. But in this movie, we get our first, I think it's our first real awesome scene of gratuitous Cage rage.
Yes. Cage rage.
I mean, we've seen Crazy Cage, but this is just unbridled.
He's not a murderer, he's a manslaughterer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, manslaughter, honey, not a murderer. Don't
all
exaggerate.
Over those stairs, smashes his face into the rail, into the floor, and after he's clearly dead, up against the wall some more.
Yeah,
the back of his head is
fucking beginning. His girlfriend almost came. I mean,
Sailor! And then
he
he lights up the smoke and then points at fucking Diane Ladd. It's like, holy shit, we're off the rails and we just left the station.
It's like Poochie from The Simpsons.
You want me to shoot Sailor in the brains with a gun?
No.
In the forehead? No, that's wrong.
In the back of the head.
Through the bridge of the nose. Lots of irreparable brain damage. No, Santos. No.
No.
I'm in a
Are
killing
we at
mood.
the cage off now? Our little facey off?
Yeah, why not?
well,
Face off.
oh my
I'm kind
God.
of curious who actually could do any of that better than the people that did.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You make it all into a Jim
I think
Carrey
it's
movie.
perfect.
Fuck it, why not?
You please me too, Peanut.
That's what he was aiming for when he remade Liar Liar. This is just the same movie.
No, they're gonna
that's
remake
right.
it all with Melissa McCarthy as all the characters.
Jim Carrey is the Elvis guy.
I had a boner with a capital O.
Actually, how about that? How about Gilbert Gottfried playing William Dafoe's part? Say fuck me!
I really don't mind telling you, One-Eye Jack wants to do some peeping at the seafood store.
Boy, that vomit doesn't go away!
Y'all take a listen, you'll hear the deep sound
Gilbert
coming out from Bobby Peru.
in a close-up with the silk stocking over his head with the gnarled teeth saying, "Those are dummies, dummy."
I love that scene because the pantyhose did fucking nothing to hide their
No,
identity.
but dude, it made him even creepier somehow. The way his eyebrows are and shit, and the
right.
glistening gums. Like, those are dummies,
Yeah.
dummy.
But what was even better was the shop owners searching for their hands.
With their hand,
Like,
yeah,
oh,
no,
they can reattach
They can
anything.
sew them things back on now, and the dog walks out with the hand. And they're in a pile of fucking blood on the floor. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
man, this movie must have used more blood than Dead Alive, you know.
And of course, there were all the references to Wizard of Oz. And
Yeah,
this
they got
thing, and you just lose
they got
count after a
the
while.
crystal ball that keeps showing up. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the curled shoes.
yeah,
and
right.
the,
You know, mentioning Toto and like Diane Ladd
Toto.
flying by on the broom. You know, and of
Yeah.
course the fucking good witch at the end, Shirley.
Yeah.
Yes, and all the references to the yellow brick
Yeah,
road.
no, yeah,
her
yeah.
clicking her heels.
That's another movie, too,
And-
that this reminded me of, was True Romance.
Yes, yeah, that's that. Like I said, no,
yes.
like I don't think we would have Tarantino without this movie. Like for all his credited influences,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I think
Yeah.
a lot of it. Like I don't think he
Fair
would have
enough.
had the stones to do what he did if he hadn't seen this. Like holy shit, I could just horror pop culture and put shit together. Brilliant,
Exactly.
you know.
And of course, that stars Nick Cage's wife, not at this time yet, but his wife, Patricia Arquette, and who is also in Lost Highway.
I think True Romance
Yeah.
is sort of an
Thank you
indicator
much.
that Tarantino, at the end of the day, might be more of a David Mamet, where he needs other people to direct his shit.
You're right.
Because, you know, like, I'm not taking anything away from Tarantino's 90s movies, but afterwards we see very much, it's like, oh, wait a minute, you were a one-trick guy, and that trick's over.
Oh, you can take anything away from me you want, just don't touch his cocaine.
You know, you shouldn't fuck with me, man. When I'm angry, I'm African-American. He said that. I don't have to make
He
it up.
did,
he
fucking
did,
said
yes.
that. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Is this just because
I'll
you
always
and
remember
Spike
his
Lee are in a fight?
acceptance speech when he won it for
We really have to pee?
Hateful
That one?
Eight.
Oh, wait, he won.
Or no,
he
it was
won?
Django. It's Django he won it for. And he's like, I want to, it's like, I got me here. It's like, me, I didn't need any of you people.
What the hell did he win for that?
It's like, wow, okay.
I've been ignoring the
It's like,
Oscars for
it's
like
because
20
of me,
years.
all you guys are here getting nominated.
I pay your wages.
The
You
look on Jamie
offer
Foxx's
me-
face is kind of amazing.
Like, I won. Fuck you.
I love cocaine.
He does. They should have had fucking Buck Cherry to play him off there.
Smell you later, losers.
Smell my ass. I love the cocaine.
So I think that with as far as the face-off goes, that I wouldn't change anybody in here.
Yeah, except for Gilbert Godfrey and Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, of course. Of
It's
course.
like, that would be the perfect
No, no matter what
baby doll.
It's like,
You know,
This jacket's a symbol of my individuality.
it wouldn't be as good, but I could see them having done this as a Mickey Rourke movie.
oh, I actually thought at one point Mickey Rourke was in that, but I was just so hoping for something in this.
It's so weird that he and Cage were in that fucking Rumblefish thing, but then again, that's a movie that you can't think about too
Yeah.
long. Your brain will shut off.
Yeah.
Like we tried, you know. You.
It may not have had Rourke, but it did have a lot of titties.
There
Yes.
were a lot of those.
We saw naked breasts
Yeah,
at least 4 times in this movie.
We saw
I think-
boobies.
I think there were 5 scenes of Dern boobies, 8 pairs of strangers tatas, and 1 pair of fake
Do we
mermaid.
know if this was before or
jugglies.
after the Scorsese Cape Fear?
I honestly don't know.
I don't.
I
I'm
wanna
not
say
saying
it's
because
before.
Cape Fear was a location in this. I'm saying because of the weird color fades, like during the sex scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That was kind of a start of a
Cape
90s
Fear was
thing,
shot
yeah.
by director Freddie Francis, who also shot Dune for Lynch. Because Freddie Francis,
Oh.
despite directing some awesome Amicus and Hammer movies, was mostly a cinematographer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cape Fear came out the year after.
The year after, okay, all right. So I'm gonna put out there that might be yet another thing borrowing from this.
Which, speaking
Oh,
of,
and
Yeah.
that's something else we have to mention too, is the next film we're doing.
Oh shit! What's next?
There was
Right,
some debate
because-
about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, all right, all right. Yeah, no,
There
yeah,
was a bit of
okay.
debate over the
So,
order.
that's right. Wild at Heart premiered in at Cannes. I think it was was it March May
May
25th of 1990, which is the same year that Firebirds got its theatrical American release. So Wild at Heart did not have its American theatrical release until later in the year. So they premiered in a sense on the same day. In the sense of American theatrical release, Firebirds would be first, but we said fuck it and we did this.
We're going by the
Yeah.
Mandela effect, where this one came out before the other movie did.
Firebirds, by the way, speaking of needlessly intense, I'm always giddy about that fucking movie. I'll watch that again for fun. Yeah.
Well, good, because we're going to be covering it next week. So.
I'm just saying.
Yes, we're going to be doing
I'm just
that
saying.
and Broken Arrow.
Fucking. Oh,
More
God.
Christian Slater!
Fuck this.
And it
I'm
would be
alright
a
with
good
that.
pairing for Nick Cage and John Travolta before
John-
we get to Face Off.
Fucking goddamn John
Oh,
Woo. You
yeah.
can fuck yourself, John Woo. Son of a bitch.
Come for us, John Woo. Wisdom. I've got a couple things. I don't know about you
Yeah,
guys.
don't stop for car accidents.
Cage
Those corpse ladies will give you their bad luck. They're icky.
Yeah, you don't want to stop for anyone you might save a life.
Don't stop for anybody ever. Just keep going.
Yeah, and just
Same
tell
thing
somebody
happened to
that
me
you're going to
last
watch
year.
them die right in front of you
Never
before
get
they
out of the
actually
goddamn
die right in
road.
front of you.
We're watching her die.
Well, she had her hairpin with all her things in it, and she had to find it. Her mother's going to kill her.
That's true. She had all that sticky stuff in her hair.
That sticky stuff in her. There's a Ray Wise movie that I think ripped this off. I don't remember who did it. I think it was somebody who wanted to be Lynch, hence the casting of Ray Wise.
Yeah.
I
was gonna
just
say.
saw the clip. I don't remember the title of the movie, but there's this lady having a car accident in the desert at night, and Ray Wise is there, and this lady keeps reaching back into her brain wound and just keeps more and more killing herself.
Unlike Chop Top.
I found the best cagey wisdom came from his character Sailor, where he says to his kid at the end, "Oye, amigo, if ever something don't feel right to you, remember what Pancho said to the Cisco Kid. Let's win before we're dancing at the end of a rope without music."
Jesus Christ.
Or
Marcelo
when Bobby
Santos.
Peru says, "Sing, don't cry."
I hope you're smiling on the inside.
Or the Good Witch, when she says, "If you're truly wild at heart, you'll fight for your dreams. Don't turn away from love, sailor. Don't turn away from love."
But I'm a manslaughterer.
Also, dating tip 155, don't tell the man you just banged he reminds you of your dad.
Yeah, that was a wee bit eerie. I mean, it didn't quite drift into Zalman King territory, but that's threatening too.
Yeah.
But for people at home and fans of Sherilyn Fenn, don't ever watch Two Moon Junction. Just don't do it.
No.
Life's really short, and that movie just makes it shorter.
Well, I guess if that's it, can we get out of here? Because One-Eyed Jack wants to go to the seafood store.
oh, you want to do that Texas style.
I gotta say, please listen, follow, rate, and review Cage's Kiss on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and YouTube. And while you're at it, if you're looking for any other shows to listen to, I'd say definitely check out Deep into History. It's a really fun podcast where
That shit's deep.
Well, they go deep into history.
Deep.
And it's actually I failed. Like I failed so fucking hard in history in high school, but like
I was
feel
like history because I just sit around and they tell me them stories.
I like the picture stories.
Them picture stories are my favorite.
But I feel like if Arjun had been my my teacher, I would have done way better than I did. But what do you guys have for plugs?
Well, I'll take this opportunity. Butt plugs, though. I'll just take this opportunity to plug my YouTube. I actually put something on there. Go find out what that was. And you know, my deviant art under Leo the Fox is still there. There's always cheese in a mousetrap. How about you, Donnie?
I just want to throw out the one other thing that made me giggle in this movie was the name of the correctional facility was the PD Correctional Facility, and it just made me think of PD Wheatstraw, and that just got the song stuck in my head, so it just made me real happy. Otherwise, you can find me as Unreal Goals on Twitter. I'm not going to give out my other social media because fuck you.
Because it's the boy who blew.
Yes, the boy who blew on RedTube.
On RedTube. And please remember, you can find Cage's Kiss on Facebook and on Twitter, and at that, of course, that's at Cage's Kiss. You can visit our website at cageskiss.com, and you can write to us at cageskiss@gmail.com. But we'll be seeing you next week with Firebird.
And Sailor Ripley, you get some music on that radio.
I'm making my lunch.
POWERMAD.
We have Buffalo now.
POWERMAD. POWERMAD.